way, they arranged the wedding of Nanda and Yasoda. Very big wedding. And under the reign of Nanda and Yasoda, everyone was very, very happy. They had no problem whatsoever, only one problem was there. The many years went by, and Nanda and Yasoda had no child. Only this problem was beating on the hearts of all the Vrishvasis. Sometimes his subjects would recommend to him that you perform this Devi Devata worship, you follow this vrat, you do this yagya. And Nanda Maharaj, he only had faith in his Shalagram. In Shalagram Maharaj, if Lord Vishnu desires, I have child. If not, he'll not. But anyway, to keep his citizens happy, he followed all these jagyas, he worshipped these Devi Devatas, he followed these vrats. Still no child came. Many years passed. Actually, it's described in Radha Krishna Ganodesha Dipika that Nanda Baba, he had salt and pepper beard. Salt and pepper means some white hairs are there. So he was not a very young fellow. Even Mother Yasoda, she also has some little gray hairs. Like now we don't have any black hairs left. Only silver hairs left. So one day, one mysterious lady appeared in Braj with two small children, obviously her grandchildren. And she was dressed in saffron like a sadhvi. Now the Vrishvasis, they have too much faith on sadhus and sadhvis. So they all bowed down at her feet, and very warmly they asked her, who are you, where are you from, what do you desire? And she said, I'm coming from Avantipur, my name is Purnamasi. I'm the mother of Sandipani Muni, and these are Sandipani Muni's two children, Madhumangal and Nandimukhi. And I'm very expert in Jyotish. You know, Jyoti means light. So the Jyotish are those who study the light from the stars and their influences. Astrologer. And I have calculated that very soon Nanda and Yasoda will get a son. What did she say? Nanda and Yasoda will get a son. She didn't say daughter. And I want to see that event, so you please make a little grass kutir for me on the bank of the Jamuna, so we can see that event. So they made a little parn kuti for Purnamasi and Nandimukhi and Madhumangal. One day, when Yasoda and Nanda were alone, she came and she spoke some confidential things with them. She said, if you actually want to get a child, then you will have to follow very strictly the Ekadasi Vrat for 1 full year. Because we see, most of the Vrishvasis are cowherds. The cowherds, they don't necessarily follow Ekadasi. If you go on Braj Prikrama with Lokanaswami Maharaj in the villages, then you'll see even Ekadasi, they're making their rotis. But she said, if you will follow Ekadasi for 1 full year, you will get a child. Now we're going to see the power of Ekadasi. If you're not following Ekadasi now, you can learn from the devotees here in the temple or in wherever temple you came from. All the rules and regulations, not hard. We just don't take any beans or grains. We don't ask you to fast completely. You can learn how to do it. But very powerful, we're going to see. And this very special day, this Janmastami, you're here in Vrindavan, you make a vow that I will follow from this day forward, I will follow Ekadasi. So they began to follow for 1 full year this Ekadasi Vrat. And during that year, they would see, sometimes they would, from the corner of his eye, Nanda Maharaj would see some little blackish boy running through the house. And he'd look, and nothing was there. Mother Yasoda would also see him running through the house. And she would look, nothing was there. Sometimes Nanda Maharaj, he came back from herding the cows all day, He would sit down and he would turn on the TV. No, that's what you do. The old days, before we had this one ek ankwali asura, before we had this one-eyed demon, we used to read the scripture. As our dear Panchagoda was trying to tell us, we have to understand what is the purpose of life. The scripture is there to tell us what is this ek ankwali asura is meant to make us forget about the purpose of life. So he would sit down and he would read Ramayana. Because for the Brishbasis, Ram is God. Krishna hamara lala hai. Ram to Bhagwan hai. You go in the village, they greet each other. Ram Ram Bhai, Ram Ram Ji. You go in the village, they'll greet like that. So while he was reading Ramayana, then Mother Yasoda would be making the rotis and dal, a dal roti khao, Radha Krishna guna gao. And Nanda Maharaj, from the corner of his eye, as he was reading, he would see this beautiful blackish boy with curly black hair, lotus petal eyes, in Mother Yasoda's lap. And he looked, nothing was there. Mother Yasoda, she's busy in the kitchen, and she would see in Nanda Maharaj's lap while he was reading, some beautiful blackish boy like a monsoon cloud, lotus petal eyes, curly black hair. And she would look, nothing was there. These strange things went on for almost a year, for many months. Then one day, it was the month of Magh. We know month of Magh, that means when it's very cold. In fact, it was Magh Purnima. And Nanda Baba, he was sleeping on his bed with this nice warm quilt. And Mother Yasoda was sleeping in her bed with a nice warm quilt. Suddenly Nanda Maharaj, he got a dream. He saw within his heart this beautiful blackish boy, like a sapphire, beautiful lotus petal eyes, curly black hair. And as he watched, that boy went from his heart and went across the room and established himself in the heart of Mother Yasoda. As soon as he was established in the heart of Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj's dream broke. He sat up. His hairs were standing on end. His whole body was trembling. Tears were coming from his eyes. He looked at Mother Yasoda. She was also sitting on her bed with a very surprised look on her face. They're both so excited. Nanda Maharaj, he wanted to talk, and he'd say, I, and Mother Yasoda said, you. And Nanda Maharaj, he shook his head, and Mother Yasoda said, I, and Nanda Baba took his head. They both understood. They had the very same dream at the very same time simultaneously. And from that day, Mother Yasoda began to manifest all of the symptoms of being with child. All the symptoms of being with child. Her breast became very firm. All the symptoms appeared. Immediately, all the old ladies of the village, they understood. Because in America, we say you can fool some of the people all of the time. And all of the people some of the time. But you can't fool Mom. So all the ladies, they understood. Mother Yasoda's with child. Everyone became excited. The news went around. Everybody was so excited. When Mother Yasoda is going to give child? When Mother Yasoda is going to give child? Gradually, Mother Yasoda, after many months, she became very big and pregnant. That reminds me of a wonderful pastime of Prabhupada in Hawaii. Prabhupada gave the Srimad Bhagavatam class. He came outside and he saw two of his lady disciples. They're very big and pregnant. And Prabhupada smiled just like a grandfather at the granddaughter. And he said, a tree is most beautiful when it is full with fruits. It's like we were just in Kashmir. We saw all the apple trees were filled. I never saw an apple tree with so many fruits. Just filled with fruits. I thought apple tree, there's one apple here, one apple. They were just filled with apples. And a woman is most beautiful when she's full with child. Tree is most beautiful when it's full with fruit, and a woman is most beautiful when she's full with child. And then somebody said, and Prabhupada, and disciple, when is he most beautiful? And Prabhupada said, you do not know? Everyone froze. You do not know it? Everyone was afraid to speak. And Prabhupada said, when a disciple follows the order of his spiritual master, then he's most beautiful. He said, tree is most beautiful when it's full with fruit, and woman is most beautiful when she's full with child. So in our old system, we had one room in the house, or one in the compound, there was one hut, which was called Prasutigar, maternity house. When the ladies were very pregnant, they would go and stay there. And one nurse was there, we called midwife. In the old days, we never went to hospital. This is just a money-making business nowadays. Because always in the village there was ladies, they knew everything what to do. No need to go to the hospital. Even my daughter, she was born at home. And that naturopathic doctor who delivered her, he said, what, is it some disease? Did you have to go to the hospital? Is it a disease? It's the most natural thing. He had a squeaky voice. It's the most natural thing happening all day, all across the world. What do you have to go to the hospital for? I said, I delivered 500 babies in my life, 500. Only one time we went to the hospital. And she was born at home, and she's very, very happy and healthy. And she gave me a granddaughter, also born at home. So, Mother Yasoda began to stay in the Prasutigar, and one midwife began to stay with her. Then one day, it was the 8th day of the month of Bhadra. It was like 1 week ago we had Balaram Purnima. So that was Shravan month was ended. So now we're in the month of Bhadra. Astami. The nakshatra was Rohini. And it was Wednesday. If Janmastami ever comes on a Wednesday, it's super auspicious because Krishna was born on a Wednesday. So, after some time, in the evening, the nurse, she decided to go do some errands. And while she was out, she was feeling a little tired. So she decided to take a snap. Something between a sleep and a nap we call a snap. But she lay down and she fell fast asleep. Meanwhile, Mother Yasoda is all alone. No one's there. So for a minute, we'll leave Mother Yasoda there. We'll go back to Mathura for a minute. The Jiva Goswami always brings out the Braj Bhav in every Leela. We'll go back to Mathura. So Mathura, we know there was a king named Ugrasen, very, very pious king. Everyone loved Ugrasen. And he had a very wonderful wife named Padmavati. Now sometimes I always used to wonder, how is it possible that from such a pious king came such a demon named Kant? And actually from the Puranas we learned that one time Padmavati, she went to the house of her father. This is part of our Indian culture, that sometimes the girls, they go stay with their fathers sometime. So, her father was the king of Vidarbha. And he had a very beautiful garden behind his palace. And she was walking in the garden, and there was one yaksha, one demoniac yaksha named Dramila, sometimes called Gobila. And he saw Padmavati, he became struck with lust. And he was very powerful, so he changed his form into Ugrasen. And he began walking from the other side of the garden. And Padmavati, she was very astonished. What is my husband doing here? And she ran to embrace him. And they became intimate. Then after a while she understood, this is not my husband. But it was too late. She was already impregnated. And she cursed that embryo that you will be killed by your own relative. So Kansa is not actually the son of Ugrasen. So anyway, he had this demoniac son named Kans. And his brother Devak, he had 7 daughters. So he gave one of those daughters to Ugrasen, named Devaki. So they decided to marry Devaki with the son of Surasen, Vasudeva. A very big wedding was there, and he gave thousands of chariots full of jewelry and riches, and some big dowry was there. And the old system was, we can't understand it from the West, but nowadays also it's not so understandable, but in old times, the girl, she never lived outside the protection of her father. She always stayed in her father's house. Now she's going to her husband's house. So this is a big traumatic thing I've seen. The girl is, because the last part of the marriage ceremony goes on for many days. That's why we see mostly in India, it used to be anyway, that the marriages, they lasted for a long, they lasted. In the West they don't last at all. Because once you've been through 3 or 4 days of wedding, they say, I'm never going through that again. So the last part is a bidai, leaving. So it's a very traumatic scene. She's leaving, she's going to her father-in-law's house. She's never lived outside of her father's protection. She's crying, mother is crying, the father is crying, grown men are crying. Everyone is crying. I was giving this katha one time in the West, and one Indian lady was there. She began to cry, remembering her wedding. So that she won't feel so bad. Sometimes the brother, because Kamsa is not a real brother, cousin brother, he will drive the chariot. So Kamsa was driving the chariot. And everyone loved Vasudeva. As he was going through the streets were all lined with coconuts and water pots and beautiful decorations. And everyone's going, Devaki Vasudeva ki! Devaki Vasudeva ki! Suddenly there was a voice from the heavens. Kans, you fool! You're driving the chariot of your sister, but you do not know the 8th child of your sister will kill you! Atamalal Tera Kal. So then Kansi pulled out his sword. He got ready to kill Devaki. And Vasudeva, he put up his arms, he tried to stop. Wait a minute. And we just heard, he tried to speak so much philosophy that with this body is born death, automatic. Everyone who's born has to die. But the soul never dies. He goes through another body, just like the worm. He gave example, worm is on one leaf, and he looks around, he finds another leaf, he crawls to that, boop, like that, boop. And he said, and then Vasudeva saw, but this philosophy wasn't getting anywhere. Then he said, anyway, she's a woman, this is her wedding, you'll become very defamed by killing your own sister on her wedding day. No effect. So then Vasudeva thought, well, anyway, let me save Devaki somehow or another. Then in the future I'll see what to do about her sons. He said, anyway, the oracle said that is the son, is the 8th son of your sister who will kill you. So you have no fear from Devaki. And I promise, if Devaki gives birth to a son, I will bring that son to you, and you do whatever you like. Whatever you think is fit. Now everyone, even Kans, knows that Vasudeva's word is as good as gold. Vasudeva has given his word. Everyone knows Kansa's word is good as dirt. But Vasudeva's word is good as gold. So then Kansa put his sword away, and he drove Devaki to Vasudev's house. So we can just imagine the scene. The first child is born. Vasudev's wife is holding the child, Devaki. She's looking at her husband. She knows that he has to keep his word. But in her eyes, she's saying, please don't, but she knows her husband has to keep his word. Vasudev, he's seeing the look in Devaki's eyes, but he has to keep his word. He takes that child from her arms. Without looking back, he left the palace. Just imagine the scene. He came before Kamsa. He presented that child before Kamsa. Seeing the nobility of Vasudeva, even Kamsa was moved. His heart was moved. He said, all right, I have no fear from this child. It's the 8th child. You take this one back. No problem. So Vasudeva returned. But on his way, he knows Kamsa's word cannot be trusted. We can just imagine the joy of Devaki. Her firstborn has come back. She must have been so joyful. But Vasudeva, his heart is quivering. Then Kamsa, in association of Vasudeva, he became a little moved to piety. But then he associated with his demoniac associates, and they all said, no, who knows what could happen. And of course, Narad Muni came along, because he said that it goes on like this, and maybe Krishna won't appear, because he's the 8th child. He wants to speed the Leelas up. So we know Narad Muni is a very clever fellow. So he took Kamsa to a secluded place. He said, have you seen? It's all over the internet. All the demigods are taking birth in Andhika, Bhoja, and Yadu dynasties. Have you heard? Everyone's talking about it. You don't know? And these demigods, they're very tricky fellows. You don't know how they count. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe they count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or they could start from anywhere and count. They're very tricky fellows. We cannot trust them. Anyone could be the 8th child. So then Kamsa consulted with his ministers. They were all demonic. Said, yeah, you should kill the child. Who knows? These demigods are very tricky. So again, by associating with all his demoniac ministers, he became demoniac. Just like Tulsidas has written one nice sloka, that the dust, by association with the air, it rises up to the crown of the king. By association with the air, he rises to the crown of the king. By association with the water, he comes down to be trampled underfoot. Or he gives a nice one we don't understand anymore. It's a very beautiful example. He says, just like the string and the bamboo, by associating with the mystery, it comes for the same price. In the old days, we used to take the bamboo, we fill it with sugar, special heavy solution of sugar water, and put a little string inside, and the mystery will crystallize around the string. Maybe you've seen. So when you buy the mystery, the bamboo and the string, but nobody pays for a little piece of bamboo or piece of string. Nobody pays for it. But by associating with the mystery, when you pay your 10 rupees for the mystery, the bamboo and the string is coming also by association. Very sweet example he gives. So his demoniac ministers told him, no, kill the child. So then he took the child. He's such a demon, we can't even imagine. We don't want to imagine. Right in front of the mother, he took the child and smashed it on the stone. We don't even want to imagine what a demon this Kamsa is. And he threw them in jail. And like this, 6 children were killed. Then we heard a week ago the 7th child was transferred to the womb of Rohini in Gokul. Then Devaki became pregnant for the 8th time. Now Kansa is really worried. Actually, Kansa, he's so Krishna conscious. I'm envious of him, actually. He was thinking about Krishna 24 hours a day. One time, his servant came with a glass of water. Of course, he's a king, so it's silver glass, silver tray. It's reflecting all the colors, of the palace. And Kansa looked. He just saw something shiny and colorful is coming. And he said, "Guards, guards, kill that goose, Krishna has come, Krishna has come." The servant said, "Are, Maharaj, I just brought you some water." Even seeing water, he's seeing Krishna. Because I could take everybody on Prikama, especially when it's hotter like this, And everybody's always, "Prabhu, where's water?" The first Hindi word that our foreign devotees learn, "Pani, pani." But Kansa, even seeing water, he was seeing Krishna. His cook made a nice feast. Nice red tomato chutney and green butter paneer and orange gajar halava. Very beautiful feast, and nice yellow puris, so many nice things. He put a nice silver katori, silver thali, little glass of water, some flowers. He brought it to the Kansa. Kansa looked, he saw something colorful, something shiny is coming. He said, "Guards, guards, kill him, that dust has come, Krishna's come, kill him, kill him." "Arey Maharaj, I just brought your feast." Now tomorrow when you see that nice gulab jamun sitting on your plate, are you going to think of Krishna? Sach bolo. Sunday feast time, you see that nice big gulab jamun, do you think of Krishna? But Kansa, even seeing food, he was seeing Krishna. He married the 2 daughters of Jarasandha, Asti and Prapti. So they decorated themselves very nicely with jewelry and crowns and nice sari and everything. They came before their Pati Dev, their husband. And Kansa looked, he said, "They both came! Krishna and Balaram both come! Kill them, kill them!" "Hey Maharaj, it's us, your wives!" Now tell me the truth. When you see your wife, do you see Krishna? Kansa, even seeing his wives, he was seeing Krishna. So Krishna conscious. But it was, Rupa Goswami says, bhakti should be anukul. This is pratikul. He wants to kill Krishna. So he's very worried this 8th child is coming. So we just heard, actually, somehow or other, all the gates of the palace at midnight on the 8th day of month of Bhadra, all the gates somehow automatically open. Just like nowadays we go to the airport, we walk and the door automatically opens in front of us. But 5,000 years ago, this is going on. We thought this was a new thing. And all the chokidars, they were in their constitutional position. And Vasudev with 4 arms, decorated with jewelry, beautiful golden dhoti, golden crown and ornaments. Child doesn't come like that. But right outside the womb, he manifested himself, not born in the ordinary way. Vasudev with 4 arms, he appears. And then he told Vasudev that you take me across the Jamuna and trade me with the girl child of Nanda Maharaj. So, meanwhile, back in Gokul, Yasoda is all alone by herself. Around midnight, suddenly she realized child is coming. Child is coming. And she's all by herself. The midwife is not there. No one's there. And she's never had child before. Just imagine. I lived here in India. I see all the girls, they go home to their mother when they're going to have child. Because she had so many children. She never had child. But mother had so many child. She's all alone. And she's not very young. Little white hairs are coming. A child is coming. Boom, 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 boom. She's so much in anxiety. somehow this little girl child was born from her womb. And she just went through the trauma of childbirth. She's all alone. She didn't get any sleep. She was trying to sleep, but this side not getting sleep, that side, this side, that side. No sleep. She didn't see that from her heart. Beautiful blackish boy, like a lump of blue musk, with beautiful curly black hair, lotus petal eyes appear. Because a real child is born from love. Just like I have one friend in Delhi, somehow he couldn't get along with his father. He was raised by another father who was a nice devotee. So he considers that person, because of the love, he considers that he's my real father. So from her heart was born this beautiful blackish child. If you see in the 10th canto, in the 5th chapter, in the purport, Prabhupada describes that Vishnara Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami, citing various shastras, have proven that Brajendra Nandan Shamsundar is the son of Mother Yasoda, who appeared in Mathura was Vasudev, Chaturabhujwale. That Mother Yasoda had twins. Brajendra Nandan Shamsundar is the son of Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. So Vasudev, he took that child, and they were in a jail cell. What is around? There was nothing. There was just, we call it, in English, we don't have any words, so we say basket. It was a surpy. You know, a surpy is this little wicker thing, shaped like this. You throw the wheat in the air and the chaff blows away, and you catch the grain like this. Simple thing. Krishna should have come in a golden basket. But he came in a simple surpy. He took this little surpy, he put it on his head. He was walking. We heard how Anantashesh came and covered him from the rain. It was raining, thunder's going. He came to the Jamuna. She was in spate. He started going into the water, and the Jamuna was in spate. Just like now, you see, it's just pouring like anything. But Casey got us underwater. I saw a video yesterday. Casey got us underwater. And gradually the water was rising higher and higher and higher, and he was holding the basket, the surpy, higher and higher and higher. And he was going, koi lo, koi lo, koi lo, koi midalala le lo, koi lo, koi lo, koi midalala. Laman, please take my child, please take my child. So that ghat became known as Koila Ghat. Used to be very disrepaired, but this Braj Foundation has made beautiful ghat there, and beautiful dioramas there of the whole pastime. And Krishna, he put his foot outside the basket and touched Jamuna. Then Jamuna became ankle deep. Because she wasn't rising from rainwater, she was rising with desire to touch the lotus feet of Lord. She immediately came down to ankle deep, and Vasudeva very easily crossed over. He didn't see in the darkness that when he put the Vasudeva down, he merged into the body of Brajendra Nandan Shamsundar, who was already lying there. In the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada describes how when Brajendra Nandan Shamsundar Krishna appears, all the avatars and expansions, everything merged within the body of Krishna. So that Vasudeva, he merged with the Brajendra Nandan Shamsundar, and he took that girl child and went back to Mathura. And we just heard how then she began, when he came back in, all the doors locked, the chokidars woke up, the girl cried, and they called Kams. Kams came, he could hardly walk. This is it, a child. And Devaki saying, it's a girl, we can't imagine the scene. Devaki saying, it's a girl, but Kamsa is so demoniac. He grabbed that girl, he swung her up in the air to smash her on the stone, and she slipped out of his hand. Said, Kans, you fool! The child who will kill you has already been born somewhere else. And she appeared in many places. Because when Krishna had ordered Yogamaya to transfer the embryo of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, he told Yogamaya, then you will appear. And when you appear, you will become more famous than me. We just went up in the Kashmir, everywhere there's Devi temple, famous Devi temple, everywhere. Specifically, when Yogamaya left the hand of Kans, she went to Vindhyachal hills, and there's very famous temple, Vindhyachalavasini. Vindhyavasini, very famous temple. So meanwhile, we'll go back to Braj. Now we're finished with Mathura. We'll go back to Braj. In the morning, the peacocks began to cry. Meow, meow, whoop. The nurse woke up. Oh my God, I left Mother Yasoda all alone. She ran to the maternity room. She opened the door and she saw lying beside Mother Yasoda this beautiful blackish boy like a monsoon cloud with lotus petal eyes, curly black hair, tiny little fingers and feet. In fact, his one finger is caught in his curl. He can't get it out. He's trying to get it out. And she squealed with delight, and Mother Yasoda woke up and she grabbed that child and just held him to her breast. And she said, so soft like butter, so sweet, so beautiful. So the nurse, she ran to the Goshala where Nanda Maharaj and all the cowherd men were milking the cows. As soon as they saw the nurse, they all stood up. And she was to make an announcement, but she's so excited, no sound came out. No sound came out. And they said, Mother Yasoda had a child, a boy. Nanda Maharaj almost fainted. Then he said, oh no, now we have to arrange to give charity to the Brahmins. We have to decorate the cows. We have to make a big feast. We have to do this. We have to do that. And his brother said, look, you go see your child. We're all here. Because in the old days, we all lived together. All the brothers lived together with their wives all together. And everybody helped one another. Now we have the, what do you call, nuclear family. In the old days, everyone helped. They said, what are we here for? You go see your child. We'll take care of all the arrangements. Nanda Maharaj, he's practically not even walking. He's swimming in the ocean of transcendental bliss. His feet are hardly touching the ground. He got to the door. He opened the door of the Prasutikar. But Mother Rohini has got there first. And she has her sari pulled like this. Bakshish. You give donation, then you can see your child. It's still going on since 5,000 years. You go to that temple there in Gokul, as soon as, oh, these guys are from Bombay, very rich. You give money, we'll open the curtain. Nanda Maharaj took the golden necklace from his neck. He gave it to Mother Rohini. Mother Rohini pulled back that curtain. And Nanda Maharaj saw this beautiful blackish boy, like a sapphire. Beautiful lotus petal eyes, curly black hairs. His little tiny fingers still stuck in his curl. Like that. Nanda Maharaj was in bliss. Nanda Maharaj was in bliss. And Nanda Maharaj, he began to give charity. He gave so much charity. He gave so much charity. He gave so much charity. Those who were receiving the charity were thinking, we're not worthy to receive so much charity. Did we ever get experience like that? It's Janmastami time. We go to our best donor that we have to for a donation for Janmastami. We know we're going to get a nice donation. You know, he gives us a check. He puts it in an envelope, seals the envelope. We take it back to the temple. We open it up. We look. Seems like 1 or 2 zeros are missing here. Like that, we got experience. But this is Braj. Magic things can happen in Braj. Nanda Maharaj, he gave so much charity. He gave so much charity. Those who were receiving were thinking, we cannot receive so much charity. We never got experience like it, but this is Braj. And then the news spread and all the Brishbazis came running. All the Brishbazis came running. And everyone seeing this beautiful child, they all began to dance and sing. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Gar means home. So Nanda Maharaj's home, Anand, there's bliss today. Bayo, we know means brother, but he's many brothers, and it's in vocative sense. So Bayo, Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. 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 Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Hati dini gora dini or dini palki. Hati dini gora dini or dini palki. Hati dini gora dini or dini palki. Nanda Maharaj is in bliss, he's giving charity. So he gave Hati, just like we know Hastinapur. Hati means elephant. And horse, gore. Hati dini gore. When he ran out of horse and elephant, then he gave everyone palki, palakan. Hati dini gora dini or dini palki. Hati dini. Hati dini gora dini or dini palki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. 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 Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Jwanin ko hati gore budin ko palki. Jwanin ko hati budin ko palki. Juwan just almost like English, young. To the young people they gave horse and elephant. And Buddha means old person walking with 3 legs. Buddha and ko, he gave palakan. Juwanin ko hati gore budin ko palki. Juwanin ko hati gore budin ko palki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. 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 Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Hati dini gora dini or dini palki. Hati dini gora dini or dini palki. Nandagara Nandabayo Jai Kaniya Lal Ki. Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki, Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki. Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki, Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki. Nanda Gaya Nanda Gaya Nanda Gaya Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki. Jwanin ko hatti gore budin Gopal ki. Jwanin ko hatti gore budin Gopal ki. Nanda Gaya Nanda Gaya Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki. Nanda Gaya Nanda Gaya Jai Kanhaiya